King of LARPers Hasan Piker, now suddenly an expert in the gaming industry. Response to news from IGN. Yes, IGN also experts in the gaming industry. Totally not a bunch of corrupt journalists with horrible reputations. But let's take a look at what Hasan and IGN are saying here. So, IGN says EA CEO got an $8 million raise thanks to how well Battlefield 6 performed, 4 months after the devs responsible for making the game got laid off. And Hasan says, this is what's destroying gaming, quote unquote, by the way. Not woke, DEI, or whatever the neckbeard streamers and slop tubers want you to believe. And it's like, dude, gamers have been criticizing EA for what, like around a decade or so? Like, oh yeah, this is what's destroying gaming. You guys don't know what you're talking about. Actually, we've been talking about that for much longer than Hasan has. But guess what? There's multiple things going on here, Hasan. We can talk about greedy, corrupt executives at EA, sure. But we could also talk about the DI slop in games like Concord, Veilguard, SSK the JL. We can make a whole giant list. But let's talk about a more recent example right now, unfolding right now. Literally, look at Halo. A once iconic franchise a lot of people enjoyed. I never got into it, thankfully. I'm really glad about that because look what it's become. Granted, I know the pain in a different way because I used to like BioWare and I used to like Bethesda, and look what's become of those companies. Ugh. But sticking with Halo, it's no coincidence that the more Halo began engaging in DI slop, the quality of the games have also plummeted. And instead of focusing purely on making good games, what do? Hey, we've got LGBT colored Halo armor, guys. Aren't we great? You should totally give us your money. You should support our corporation because we pander with rainbow capitalism. Shockingly, some people actually eat that right up. They just unquestionably consume the slop. Like, wait, LGBT rainbow armor? Oh, sold. Yes. Like, dude, get some thinking skills, please. You're being used like a freaking tool. Another somewhat recent example. Look at Bungie and everything that's gone down recently with Marathon and Destiny. But these guys, months ago, I think it was February 2026, they're bragging about how guys, we have George Floyd-inspired hair textures in our games that we're working on. This is groundbreaking research. Meanwhile, Destiny players are like begging for dev support. What do they get? Nah, we got Marathon and our George Floyd hair research to focus on. Forget Destiny. We don't need you guys anymore. And those are literally just some examples I came up with in 2 minutes sipping some coffee this morning. I could keep talking about this for so long. I've got so many examples. We could start taking more of a financial angle too, start talking about Bridge and DI and ESG and BlackRock and Vanguard and how many AAA companies have significant investments from these capital firms that push DI, ESG. And we haven't even gotten started about the whole diversity consultation company grift that you see from corpos like Sweet Baby Inc. That's a whole other angle. There's a lot to unpack here, Hasan. You sure you want this conversation? Or how about we talk about how some of these companies push DI slop and literally get paid by the government to do it? You want to talk about Dustborn? Hey, we're anti-establishment, we're rebellious, but then in reality, they were getting funding from the government. But hold on, guys. IGN wrote an article talking about how EA CEO is greedy. Again, wow, are we supposed to be surprised? Gamers have been talking about how greedy and corrupt EA is for literally years upon years upon years. But yeah, this being a thing apparently invalidates everything that we just talked about. None of that's really going on. This is the only thing that matters in the industry. Yeah, no. But let's also talk about the snug premise here from IGN, where they're trying to frame these devs as like poor, unfortunate victims. The reality is a lot of devs, especially in this day and age, are hired temporarily to begin with. They are on a temporary contract that they agree to. They know the terms. They like the contract. They agree to it. They do the job. They get paid. And that's that. Basically like, hey, thanks for your work. Here's your money. Best of luck to you. The fact of the matter is, in game development, after the game is complete and released, you don't need the same amount of people to keep working on it. You need some for QA, you need some for bug fixing, potential updates you want to roll out, maybe DLC and all that, right? But you don't need like the full team. Now, sometimes there's another project in the pipeline that devs will be shifted to, but a lot of the time there's not, at least not yet. And so the contracts end. But then suddenly we're supposed to feel bad. Like, oh my gosh, that's so messed up. These people got laid off. And it's like, they quite literally didn't. Like, everything actually worked out for them. This is not a layoff. Now, sometimes there are layoffs, right? Sometimes you have a dev that's on more of a salary basis and a company might lay them off. But a lot of the time, journalists conflate these two things together. And it's just pure manipulation. And they do this because they want to try to get gamers to support the concept that all devs should unionize. Now, if they really think that all devs should unionize, they should present this argument in a more, honest way, a more genuine, honest way. But a lot of the time they don't. They lie, they gaslight, they manipulate, they do everything they can, except the right thing, to try to get people to support their argument. The good news is most people see right through this sort of manipulation tactic, and gaming journalists, well, no one really cares what they have to say anymore. And journalism overall has become one of the least trusted, least respected professions in the entire world. I'm not even just talking about gaming journalism now. I'm talking about the whole thing. Because a lot of these journalists, like I said, and as you guys know, I'm kind of preaching to the choir here, they've been lying to everyone about so many topics for years upon years upon years. I keep going back to that, but hey, it fits. And the last thing, for argument's sake, let's say now we're actually talking about a legitimate layoff. Let's say a dev was on salary and they ended up getting laid off. Well, there's still a lot of context into that. The journalists, once again, they want us to just blindly support the dev in this context, but we need more context. We don't know the sort of work they were doing. We don't know if they were doing good or bad work. We don't know if they were a nasty person. We don't know anything. Maybe they were great, wonderful, doing great work and they got laid off and it really was unfortunate and they didn't deserve that. But we don't know. They might be some DEI slob activist that was horrible to their coworkers, ruining the games that they were involved with their ideas and their poor performance. And then they get laid off. And what, I'm supposed to defend that person? We're supposed to feel bad for that person because someone at IGN said that we should? Anyways, I've talked enough. I'm starting to feel lazy. Maybe I need more coffee, but I'm just going to finish the video. So this is to say, now we'll take a look at what some other people are saying so I can just read their takes. Here's a really good response. Directly quotes Hasan, says, Hasan will look you dead in the eye and tell you this woke nonsense didn't destroy Dragon Age while electrocuting Kaya. Oh gosh. I already know this scene. It's the Barb scene, but we'll play it again. I haven't seen this in like a year or so, probably. I don't know, a year and a half, something like that. I don't know if I'm ready, but let's do it. Yeah, I haven't even started the video. I'm already disgusted just seeing Tosh right there. Like, just one of the worst character designs ever. I don't know. I feel like I'm maybe slightly reaching. That's a pretty bold claim, but like, it really might be. I mean, that's just disgusting.
Best part is, while Tosh is pounding that snake's nose, she's still holding the ruby in her other hand. Maker's panties. I was so proud.
Oh,
Ah, shit. They're still holding it. Sorry.
what are you doing?
Pulling a barb.
Oh, okay. A barb?
Dude, I can't believe they actually put this in here.
Tradition in the Lords of Fortune from one of our old members, Barv. Good guy, but like most of us, his plans went sideways a lot.
Yeah, okay, we know. She does push-ups to apologize for misgendering Tosh, calling Tosh she instead of they. And then, like, dude, everything about this, like, the writing is horrible, the dialogue's horrible, the characters are horrible. I feel bad for people that liked Isabella in the prior Dragon Age games because look what they did to Isabella. This actually, I'm starting to get, what's the word? I was supposed to be lazy and not comment that much, but this is reminding me of another video I wanted to make separately, like an actual just commentary video about why DI slop activists are such bad writers. But yeah, like I said, I do want to make a separate video about that sometime. I've had this idea in mind for a while now. I just got to actually like make the video. So I'm not going to comment more about that here. I don't want to bury that concept, bury the lead at the end of this video rather. Rock Solid also responded to Hasan saying, dang, who did all this then? Showing the MJ downgrades, another Tosh scene there where she's going off about being non-binary, body type 1 and 2, and this Yasuke thing, which to this day, I like, is this real? To this day, I still don't even know if it's real or not, and it's such a creepy look that I never even wanted to actually look into it more, but briefly mentioning in a video is good enough. Like, if someone can comment if this is actually real or not, that would be great. It's way too creepy. I don't want to look at it anymore, though. Like, actually, both characters creep me out. Literally both. Like, Yasuke mainly, because, I mean, what the frick is that? But even the way that character's looking at him, like, everything about this is just... Oh, I just need to move on. Let's get away from that. We got Christina Tasty responding to Hasan, saying, who do you think is in charge of making the games they make bland beige nothings? The janitor? Whoa, and this account pointing out a recurring theme. What's this? The, quote, woke or whatever, unquote, gaslight. Once you see for it, you'll never fall for their tactics again. Showing multiple accounts here saying things like, the Odyssey is going to do huge numbers. Most people don't really care if it's woke or whatever. I know I don't. Another one saying, sounds like you just want to complain about woke or whatever. Another one too woke or whatever, call me woke or whatever, call me woke or whatever. What the frick? Dude, literal hive mind behavior. What is this? I'm not reading the full tweets. It's like the image is kind of small and I don't want to read all this nonsense anyways. I'm getting ready to wrap this video up, but this is weird as heck. Heard they were bad or woke or whatever. Call me too woke or whatever. Yeah, so there's something really ironic about these sort of people who make their entire online presence and probably real life presence as well, just like nonstop virtue signaling. But then when they say like quote unquote woke, they're acting like dismissive towards it as if it's not a big deal. And again, that's rich coming from people that literally encapsulate their whole life around that terminology and that lifestyle. Anyways, that was fun, but I'll leave it there. As always, thank you for tuning in. I hope you've been having a great weekend. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one.